come this way just a little bit and then it won't scare that cat. Just walk around there so she has trouble. You got some.
Watch her. You're gonna go that way, buddy, and then you're gonna line up with these other.
I think he's okay now. Oh, it's always got to be fun for a little challenge. All right, in this class number 1, this is our first class. There's 10 steers in this class, and we're kind of ranging from 125 to 125. How about that? There's a pretty well even set of calves. We'll start off with class number 1 with 10 head right there.
All right, as we start off with our lightest weight class of market steers here this afternoon, I think that the young lady out front here has brought us just the overall complete one in my mind. That guy is super good looking from the side, really, really stout, a lot of meat animal shape on that bro. Really, really good in terms of his finish. I love how mellow he touches. He's big and square out of his loin shape, a super big stout hip on that guy. When he's asked to lead, he pulls and leads in a really comfortable manner. Young lady's done a nice job at getting him to an appropriate endpoint. I think too, if we're going to talk about him in the grand scheme of fed cattle in general, he's a little bit small, as evident of his shorter cannon bone length, shorter muzzled, little shorter outline, kind of moderate kind of calf. But I think for what we got out here today, that guy's finished, he's fat, he's good looking, and he's good quality from the side. He just needs to win this class for me today. Congratulations to her. Young lady with the bald-faced calf coming in second. I think it's kind of a give and take between second and third for me today. I think both these young ladies have brought us quality cattle that I think really fit the mold in terms of fat and finish out here today. Both of them are heavy muscle. Both of them are stout enough made. Going out that way. Okay. Both of them are stout enough made. I think when it comes down to it, we got a couple of cattle that I think are good and soft in terms of their finish. They're big and bold in terms of the rib type. They look like they're fairly easy to feed. I just see more skeletal security in the bald-faced calf to go into second than the one that we have into third. He's just maybe not as good looking from the side, not as stout in his overall muscle shape as the one that wins, so we'll rock out into second with him today. Our young friend with the black and white calf can pull out and start heading out that direction. She's done a nice job at bringing us good quality cattle. I think he's unique in a lot of ways. I like his big feet. I like his big bones. I like his big old back shape, his huge big old upper hip shape in that dude. I think he's just maybe not skeletally quite as comfortable as I'd like him to be. He's pretty puffy in those lower joints, kind of straight off either end. I like to see him a tick more comfortable when pulled to lead to be able to swap some things around. Now, the young gentleman with the calf in fourth, you can go ahead and start pulling around too, sir. Really kind of a unique looking bugger underneath there. I like his extension ahead of his shoulder. I like his upheadedness. He's really arrogant in his overall look. He's also got a big old back and a big old hip set into him, big and bold enough in terms of his rib type. This guy, for me, just needs maybe a couple more days to reach a more ideal endpoint in terms of fat cattle for me, and he does close up at the surface pretty particularly. Now, our young friend out here in fifth is doing a really nice job with just a nice fat calf. She did a good job at getting him finished. He touches mellow. He's plenty practical in terms of his rib type. Looked like he gained weight pretty effectively and easily for her today. I need his balance to be better from the side. I need him squared up in his toe shape, and I need him more comfortable about that back leg when he gets out and goes. Now, young gentleman in six with big old fuzzy coming next. That's a long-sided, long spine, long loined one that I think has a lot of reach off of either end of his skeleton. You like that about him. I just need to stouten that guy up from the surface, make him bolder in his rib type and bigger in his pin set to be able to lay down more muscle shape up over top of him. Now, our two friends that we got coming next, I think both have long-sided cattle that are good enough in terms of their build. They just need more time to be able to reach a more ideal endpoint for the skeletal size that we've got on both those cattle. Same story with the young gentleman and his old gray fella coming out this backside there. I like the big old feet and bones on that dude. I think we just need more time to be able to put more weight on him. Young lady rounding out the class is doing a good job at being patient with the fella. This maybe just not cooperating today. Nice job to the young lady. I wish I could have got my hands on to touch him today, but I think that's still a practical ribbed one that just needs the most time to be able to reach an ideal endpoint. Nice job to all the kids. Audience, please give them a good hand. They're doing a great job. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go straight in all the way to the end. Leave yourself some space on the end, but you're going to go butt view facing me, so nose towards the audience. That makes sense? Cool? Here we go, Cord. Hi, Gary.
Bear River Animal Hospital takes care of small and large animals, providing pediatric care all the way up to senior pets. They deliver high-quality, customized vet services with their dedicated team. Services include exams, vaccinations, surgeries, dentistry, fully equipped laboratory and pharmacy, along with x-ray and ultrasound. Many of these same services can be conveniently provided on the farm. Bear River Animal Hospital is filled with highly trained animal lovers who will provide the best care for the animals in your life.
Oh, they're right here.
Oh, all right.
Sorry. Let me just push it out towards him.
I just didn't want him to push into it.
No. I'm glad you stopped.
1228 to 1280 with our next 9 steers in class number 2.
If we have a Western Ag Credit Union representative in the show barn, can you please come down to the tables?
Awesome. A little more loud than I thought I was going to be. All right. Really, really nice pair of fat cattle up top here. I think that between the two cattle, you just really come to appreciate just the rib shape, the practicality of these dudes. They're big muscled, they're big back, they're big pin, and just big old stout hips behind them. I think when it comes down to it, young gentleman's white flank steer up front here is just the one that is better proportioned from the side. That guy is so smooth in his makeup. I love how clean he is in terms of his top line. He's good in terms of his shape down into his lower stifle. You've done a really nice job feeding in. Really touches really mellow. Another steer that I think certainly could be lengthened in his growth curve in the grand scheme of cattle. He's a little bit moderate for me, a little bit smaller on the end of the finished weight in terms of practicality there. But really nice place to go ahead and start. Young gentleman's calf in second here is the taller shouldered, longer sided, stretchier. Made one of the pair out here today. I just wish there was more of him. He cuts back up to his flank. He's a little flatter in his rib shape. Doesn't have quite as much shape down into his lower stifle. Really nice place to rock into second, however. Our young friend over here with the big old tiger stripe dude has definitely got one that is massive rib. There's a lot of meat on that dude. Big top. He's big hip. You certainly got him fat and fed. Maybe a little bit too far for where he's at right now. He definitely could have maybe laid back on the groceries because I think that being a little bit smaller bone and frailer footed, making him look just a bit off balance today. So really nice place to rock into third. Now the one that probably surprised me the most is the young lady in fourth, because from the outside looking in, that guy is kind of a big, tall, old school looking kind of dude that I think just maybe isn't quite up with the show level trends right now today. And he is a bit straight in his shoulder, but man, that thing handles like butter. You've done a really nice job of getting a good even finish on that dude. Very fresh out here today. Love that about that guy. Now, I do think that the one in fifth is certainly more practical about his rib type. He's certainly better in the angle to his shoulder. I just wish he touched maybe as fresh. He's a little bit patchy in his finish for me out here today, and then also kind of cuts back up to his flank as well. Young gentleman coming in fifth. Actually, the one over in fifth and the one in the next two young man here with the hairy face are both kind of practical in terms of the rib type. You like that they look easy feeding. I just need more time on feed for both these cattle to represent better fat finished type of cattle. The two young gentlemen on the end down there are doing a very nice job. They probably have the tallest outline, longest sided, highest growth steers of class. Unfortunately, that also comes with them being a little bit far away from being an ideal endpoint in my personal opinion. Really nice class of cattle. Audience, please give all those kids your love.
All right, our first place calf there was Bridger Hoffman, and the second place calf was Keyston Farrell.
Big J Milling has high-quality wheat flours for the baking industry. They specialize in providing top-grade flour for commercial bakeries, bakery and restaurant distributors, as well as home bakers.
Boz Towing and Diesel Roadside. From our full-service shop, fast ETA road service, fleet service, or heavy-duty towing, we have you covered. Located in Corinne and Evanston.
said they wanted to be part of this, and I think they did a good job in deciding what they needed. So as you pick up one of those waters and stuff around, remember to thank them. I don't want to get too big of a clap. I don't want to scare the steers, but we really do appreciate Farmers Union for doing that for us. It takes everybody to make this thing put together, and there's a lot to it. And all those things that a lot of people do, we sure do appreciate it. It sure makes it worthwhile here at the fair.
Awesome, really good quality pair of steers up top here to sort through and discuss. I think these are obviously the ones that just kind of come with the most presence out here today. Love just the overall fundamentals, a good market stock that they bring to the class. Big bold rib type, a lot of red meat up top, big square loin shape when you get in your hands on both of these cattle here today. For me, I think just kind of some subtle differences, and I just read maybe a tick better skeletal design in the young gentleman's black calf to go ahead and start the class today. That guy is leveler and squarer out of his hip. He's better in the angle to his back leg. For me, his back leg is fit a little bit too sharp, a little too hefty for me. I'd knock some of that back off of his back leg before you come back for the champion drive. It's just kind of distracting more than anything, but really nice, big, soft-made calf, really good looking from the side. Nice place to start for the young gentleman. Young man's yellow calf coming in second is another big, stout-made, powerful one. He's definitely the bigger-footed, bigger-bone one naturally, and you appreciate that about him, that extra feature. For me, his skeleton just comes in a couple more pieces. He's a little bit forward in his knee. He's a little bit steep out of his hip. Like to square him up on either end of his skeleton just to make him a little bit better balance from the side, but that's a good quality calf to rock into second. Young lady's white flank calf coming in third, really good quality calf as well. I like this guy's presence out here. He's really extended ahead of his shoulder. He's big and square in his top shape. He's big and loose in his rib tide. I think he just kind of gets a little bit shorter about his hip, a little bit ducked under in his pins, and when I get in and get my hands on him, I wish he was as fresh touching as those two that start off up top today. Really nice calf in third. Young gentleman's black and white calf coming next is another big, stout, powerful made one. He is a little bit shorter, a kind of raw haired kind of dude, so instantly just kind of gives you an impression of just not maybe being quite as fresh. But once you go in and actually touch on that dude, that's certainly not the case. You've done a really nice job with the feed bucket. He touches extremely mellow. There's just maybe not as much of that calf as there are of the other three. He's a little more hollow in his forerib, a little more tucked back up to his flank. I'd love to see him just a little bit more pried apart to be able to lay down more muscle shape up top as compared to the other cattle ahead of him. Young gentleman rounding out, rocking into fifth place there, kind of corrects the one ahead of him, and just those critiques that I just gave him. He is bigger backed. He is more blown apart in his rib. He is softer and more consistent back to his flank line. He's just smaller cattle, a little shorter in terms of his cannon bone, a little earlier in terms of his growth pattern. That in combination with being just a little bit coarser about his joint work just makes him look a little bit coarser from the side overall. Young lady's calf coming out next is another one that I think follows in pattern and kind with the one we just discussed. A little more moderate, a little more early maturing, kind of a big meat and potatoes kind of dude, a lot of muscle, a lot of rib shape on that fella. I just wish he was a little more comfy in his shoulder. I wish there was a little more stretch and growth to him. Then I wish he was just a tick better looking, right? Nice calf. Miss Ruthie's doing a fabulous job with a big, long, stretchy sided calf out here today. She did a nice job getting him fed. I like the touch on that guy. And when we get him compared to the cattle in front of him, there's just not as much red meat on him. Really nice job to the young lady. Two young gentlemen rounding out our class kind of both have similar outline kind of calves to Miss Ruthie that we just discussed. Really long-sided, fast grow kind of cattle. Really kind of good in terms of the pounds heavy type of cattle. Really wish they had a shot more muscle and a shot more dimension everywhere to consider swapping some things around. Audience, please give all those young people a nice hand. They're doing a great job.
Central Milling is personally invested in the quality of their products and their relationships with customers and suppliers. They are also a proud supporter of high school sports.
Steers in this class, and they're going to range from 1293 to 1309. 1309. 1293 to 1309. 9 steers in this class.
We have 2 cars or trucks that need to be moved immediately or they will be towed. It's Lazy and Landville Stock, it's a light blue, and KNCC Ranch, a white Ford.
Boom, 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 boom.
Just sing a song. You want to sing with me?
All right, so really, really good quality pair of cattle up top to sort through today. I think, it just comes down to personal preference when you have two that meet all those things that you're looking for, kind of your minimums in every single category have been met, and you're left with just quality on the top end of these two cattle. Really, really appreciate the efforts of both these young people out here today. I think when it comes down to kind of separating the cattle, I think both of them handle pretty similar in terms of finish quality and smoothness and freshness out here today. Both of them are pretty similar in in terms of true rib shape and muscle product impact out here today. I think when it really comes down to it, I just see a tick more skeletal quality in the young lady's black steer to go ahead and lead the class today. That dude's better in the angle to his shoulder, he's better in his knee, and he's a tick leveler out of his hip, and henceforth a bit more comfortable in his hind leg when he's pulled to lead. Really, really nice place to start. Now, is he maybe as flashy or maybe as kind of has as much ring presence as the one that we got in second? I don't know, but really, really nice place to start in my mind. You can't go wrong either way. The young gentleman up front here with the big old white calf has done a fabulous job at bringing us just quality cattle. Love the depth of side, the looseness of that guy's rib shape just goes into his easy feeding kind, yet he still has a lot of impact out here from a show ring perspective. He's smooth made, he's comfortable enough in his movements, comfortable enough in his joint work. He does get a little straight off either end of his skeleton for me. That in combination with being a tick lower in his pins back into his hooks is when just kind of making him look a tick rounder out of both ends of his skeleton. Really nice job to both those young people. Very, very good quality steers up top. Now, I would love to give my congratulations to the kids in 3, 4, and 5 for the work that they put in with their feed bucket. Those 3 steers handle incredibly, incredibly well. Very, very nice job at getting them to a very good end point. They all touch super, super mellow. It's not a lot of places that I get to go that I get to handle this many actually fresh touching steers, so I really appreciate that from you 3 kids. Now, I think when it comes down to separating the trio, I like the young lady's gray calf to go ahead and rock into third. That is a massive rib, big top, big-ended, thick-ended kind of calf that really just represents practical feeding type of cattle. He gets a bit stiff off those rear 2 that really just kind of sorts him down to 3 for me. Young gentleman's red, kind of rony looking deal is really, really good in terms of his finish. I love his open, loose-ended rib time. There's a big old whomping hip in that dude as well. His hock joint's pretty concerning to me, and I'd love to see a shot more shape down into his lower stifle. Young gentleman's black calf is probably the next best looking one other than the 2 that we had up top out here today, and I really commend him for getting one to look real smooth like that. He's level top. He's probably more comfortable in his joint work than the 2 ahead of him today. There's just not as much of him. He's a narrower hipped, narrower pinned one, not as much down into his stifle. I'd like to see him blown apart. Now, if you're looking for power, young lady's short calf over here does have it. I love how big muscled, big meaty, kind of big rib dude that is. He's just kind of the ESTs, right? The most and everything. He's massive, dude. Unfortunately, when we get him this powerful, oftentimes they come pretty coarse, and this guy does do that for me. He's very straight in the angle to his shoulder, kind of getting concerning in terms of skeletal design, in my opinion. The next 2 young ladies have similar type of cattle in my mind. Both nice, big-ribbed, compact type of dudes, a little shorter, couple a little shorter sided, more moderate in terms of their frame size. I think both the young ladies have brought us cattle that have enough red meat, will really grade really well. I just wish that they handled a little fresher and more youthful in terms of their genuine fat cover, and were actually a little bit better in terms of their skeletal organization. The young gentleman rounding out the class has certainly got one that has a lot of grow, a lot of length aside. I like the freshness of that dude. I just wish there was more muscle up underneath of him to consider swapping some things around. Please give all those young people a nice hand. They're doing a fabulous job.
All right, that was our 4th class. The number 1 steer in that class was Emmy Morgan, and the 2nd place went to Ridge Rinderknick. Well, I tell you what, that was a nice...
Use Elison Trucking for all your trucking needs. They are big enough to serve, small enough to care. Elison Trucking in Tremonton is a proud supporter of the Box Elder County Fair.
Okay, this is class number 5, and we go from 1313 to 1333. There's 8 head in this class, and it's 1313 to 1333. Boy, I tell you what, here's a nice class right there. Class number 5, 8 head.
All right, so nice pair of quality cattle up top to sort through and discuss here today. And I think when it comes down to it, the big thing that separates these cattle in my mind is true internal dimension. That's the young gentleman's smoky-colored calf to win the class today. That guy is infinitely bigger pin, super bold in terms of his rib cage. He's big and bold up underneath of his skeleton, and one that just sets down wider and squarer and truer on all four corners. Really like that about that calf. That allows him to lay down so much more muscle shape up top. He's much more massive in his upper hip shape. Big old bold stout made dude. Now, is he the best looking one I've seen all day? Probably not. He's kind of a little plain about his head and his neck, and you'd love to square him up in his toe shape. Those couple of things I think could just make him a bit neater about his overall appearance and let him have more initial impact from a ring appearance standpoint. But boy, you did a really, really nice job with the feed bucket on this one. This is another one. I don't know what it is in this county, but you guys feed pretty well. I've never touched this many calves that feed, that touch just so velvety, smooth, and fresh. Really, really nice job feeding that dude out. Nice place to start our class. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, young ladies, black calf's better looking. Really, really tall outline, long, stretchy kind of dude. I love just his look up front. I love how level he is out of his top line. I like the look and the profile that this dude gives you because his rib shape matches his height, matches his length. All that about him I just love. It's when you get in behind the cattle that really I just need to see more of him. He hawks in from behind. He comes nearer to the surface. Further up in his skeleton, he's nearer in his pin set. Consequently, not as much hip, not as much top there compared to the calf that wins the class today. Really nice pair of steers to sort. Congratulations to both of those two young people. Now for me, I think 3 and 4 pattern up really similar. They're both big rib, soft made, practical, easy feeding kind of cattle that I think both the young women have done a nice job at getting to this end point. I just need a little more presence out of these cattle. I don't think they proportion quite as well, not quite as much foot and bone to go with the mass up high underneath of them. You'd love to see just a shot more presence out here today, and then I think our joints could be a little bit more softened up. I think there's more of the young lady's calf that's closer to me than the 1 and 4, which is why they're ordered that direction. Both of those young women have done a nice job, though. Now the young man over in 5 has done a nice job at bringing us just smooth-made, flexible kind of cattle. I like that about him. I like that he's done a nice job at picking one that's soft enough in his rib kind, one that I think has the potential to get to really, really nice fat cattle status. Reality is he's just a little smaller, and honestly, he could probably use a little more time with the feed bucket to really represent a better fed kind of cattle, but he's done a nice job with that one. Young lady with the star-faced calf, there is a huge amount of muscle in that dude. He is really, really cracked open, big and bold in his upper rib cage shape. He sets down extremely wide to the surface and a massive, huge old hip in that dude. Sometimes when we get them this big and big outline and extreme in terms of their muscle pattern, they can tend to come with a little bit harder rib type, and that's that guy's deal here today. He looks like he's just a harder feeding kind of cattle. It's just a little bit too extreme. The two young gentlemen rounding out the class have done a really nice job with picking cattle that are big frame, they weigh up good, they grow good, they're long-sided and stretchy made cattle. I just wish there was a bit more power, dimension, and muscle shape laid down on them to consider swapping some things around. Please give all those kids a good hand. They've done a really nice job.
All right, that was our class number 5, and the first place for that one went to Greg Croney, and the second place went to Kylie Adams. Kylie Adams. All right, we're going to go move into class. Let me be free. Let me be free. Let me be free.
There's a lot to know when it comes to buying insurance. That's why it's important to have an independent agent looking out for you and your family. Whatever you're looking to protect, Advanced Insurance Services can help. Let Sherry Pally help make sure you have the right coverage and are getting all the discounts you deserve. She can shop several carriers to find the company that is right for you. Call for a free insurance review today.
Now, if we could also get all of our first and second place calves in the we're going to have 7 classes here. We'll get this class plus the next one to come. But we need to get them ready down here, and we will bring them into the ring to pick our champion of the light division.
Awesome. Another nice set of fat cattle that our young people have brought us out here today. I think when it comes down to it, I like the quality of the yellow calf to pull up into front here. Really, really nice touch and steer. Really, really handles mellow. Another one that I think has done an awesome job with the feed bucket. That's a big, loose, open rib type on one. There's plenty of hip. There's plenty of dimension at the surface. I probably like that he stays a little bit neater, more collected about the front end of his skeleton in motion than the calf in second does. Another one that I think could be cleaned up in terms of his head and his neck and just his look from the side in terms of overall show ring presence out here today. But I think just a nice calf. Good fed job on that calf. Nice place to start. Now, our friend, our best dressed in the whole show so far, friend, is out here in second place today. That is a big old honking rib shape and big old back on a big black calf. He's done a nice job at picking one that looks useful and has a lot of utility in terms of his rib type. Look like he gained weight super easy for the young man. Big old red meat top in that dude. I think he just gets a little bit straight on both ends of his skeleton for me. He's pretty upright in terms of the angle to his shoulder and out in his knee, and then one that gets a little straight off of his back end too. I think he's still functional whenever the young gentleman gets him out and gets him going to lead, and his advantage in finish and balance from the side is just enough to solidify him in second place for me. Young gentleman in the cowboy hat coming out in third has got one that is moderate. He's big ribbed, he's big back, a lot of product on that dude. Definitely one that will be really safe in terms of grading up on the rail. I think for me though, he just gets a tick too moderate. He's pretty short in his cannon bone, really early in his maturity pattern. That in combination with being a little shorter sided and a little shorter outline just make him look a little plainer in his overall makeup compared to some of the other cattle we've discussed today. The two young gentlemen coming next both have cattle with a tick more grow than the ones that one in ahead of him. I really appreciate the length of side of these cattle. I appreciate that the gentlemen have both picked cattle that are big and practical in terms of their rib type. I think these cattle, when I get them behind them, just need to come with more. I like them in their front two-thirds that kind of narrow back to their pin set, hawk in from behind, get a little plainer in their lower stifle shape. Young gentleman's all black calf, just has more to him than the bald-faced calf, which is why those are that direction. Now we have our two young friends, to me, with similarly patterned black cattle coming next. I think that both of those two young gentlemen over there have brought us good fleshing kind of cattle that look like they'd be representing just a good, low maintenance, easy growing kind of cattle. Both of them get a little bit awkward in terms of their finish, tick patchy when you get in and get to touching on them, and you like to see them a little bit more opened up in terms of their rib type, in terms of their actual dimension of the rib type. The two red cattle on the end, the young people have done a really nice job with those. Those are certainly the tallest outline, longest sided, highest grow cattle class, and just like we've been seeing all day in our show thus far, those take a little more time to get to an ideal endpoint. I just wish they had more days to reach a more acceptable endpoint. Really nice job to all the young people. Please give them all a good hand.
The winner of that class, first place was Dusty Roach, and second place was Roy Pugsley.
With over 60 years of experience and personalized service, Guild Mortgage is your key to home ownership in Box Elder County and beyond. Friends and neighbors you know and trust. Trudy, Chris, Julie, Shannon, Rollin, Tara, Brittany, Andy, Chelsea. Stop by or give us a call today. Guild Mortgage, own what matters.
The Grill has a wide variety of homemade appetizers. Can't decide what to get? Then build an appetizer combo. No matter what you're craving, the Grill has something for everyone.
Well, as we start keep rocking and rolling through our first division of fat steers out here today, I think a really nice pair of fat cattle up top. Both of them are good in terms of the rib type. Both of them are stout made. Both of them are big in terms of their muscle pattern. I think there's just more calf in the young gentleman's great calf to go ahead and start today. And I love the handle quality of that steer. He's super, super fresh touching. Really, really mellow. Has a big bold turn out of the backside of his shoulder into a super, super bold loin. I think he'll eventually cut with a pretty large eye. Love just the practicality and feedability of that calf beyond the actual touch value. Really, really nice job to the young gentleman. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, he's another one that probably needs to be cleaned up in terms of his look and presence today. He's a little clunky and short in terms of his neck and his head, and you'd really like to clean him up in his hock joint because he does get a little puffy back there. You'd like to just give him a tick more comfort off that back leg whenever he pulls out to lean. Nice job to the young man and getting him fed at home. Now, I like just kind of the overall composition of this dude here in second. He's big ribbed. He's probably more shapely in terms of his upper hip than the calf that beats him out here today. I like that about this calf. I do like that he has, the black hide advantage in terms of fed cattle on the market today. You appreciate that about him. And I like that he's kind of shorter coupled and gives him a little bit more powerful look maybe overall than the calf that beats him today. To me, he just comes in a couple more pieces. Pretty broken in the center portion of his spine there. He's a bit forward and out in his elbow, a little forward in his knee, a little straight off his rear too. I like to just hook him together a little bit better and maybe give him as fresh of a touch as the calf that beats him out here today. But nice job, even though I had to give the kid a hard time about his pink show stick out here today. Really nice job. Now, the young lady here in third of the bald-faced calf done a nice job of getting this one fed. I like his length aside. I like how level he is. I really appreciate his level of comfort whenever he's pulled out to lead. Really good in his joint work. He's flexible. He's useful there. I just don't know if there's as much calf as there is in the two ahead of him. He's a little bit flatter in his forerib, kind of tucks back up to his flank, not as big and bold in his lower stifle shape. Wish he was just a bit more blown apart. Young gentleman in 4 brings us another one that I think kind of corrects the one ahead of him in terms of genuine dimension. I like his rib shape. I like his upper back shape. A really just kind of big square-made dude. I just wish that he had a few more days to be able to actually feed out a tick better. He's pretty raw in terms of his touch out there today. Cut back up in his flank. Not as full in his visual indicators for me today. Like to see him a touch fatter. Now, the young gentleman's black and white calf kind of has some unique things to study. I like his foot and his bone. I like that he's pretty stout in terms of his muscle shape. I think when you get in behind the cattle, he's just not as impressive as I'd like him to be. He pretty much closes to the surface, and between those back two, his hocks get pretty close together. He's narrow in his pin set. If he had as much width from behind as he does in his front 2/3, I think we can consider swapping some things around. Gentleman coming next has got one that I think is long and stretchy sided. I like the utility of this dude. Another one that I think just needs a few more days. He's pretty raw in his shape. He's a little bit sickle hocked and a little round out of his hip. You'd like to just clean him up a little bit from a structure standpoint. The two young people rounding out the class have 2 more cattle that I think are ended up being 2 of the highest grow cattle of class. Again, another high grow, large outline, pounds heavy kind of cattle that I think just need a bit more practicality in terms of rib design and a few more days to reach their specific ideal endpoint. Really nice job to all the kids. Please give them all a good hand.
All right, that was our class number 7, and our first place class calf went to Dustin Mickelson, and the second place went to Davis Ramsdale. And I'll tell you what, I think that
King Farms Trucking provides excellent service to their customers as well as their drivers with maximum pay. With home time and year-round consistency, join their team today.
Did you know Kent's Market has an app? And it's free. Just go to your app store and type in Kent's Market and it'll come right up. Downloading the Kent's Market app gives you access to digital coupons, weekly deals, and access to your Kent's Kickback account. As you can see, the app is easy to use and can help you save. Download it now and get exploring. We'll see you soon at Kent's.
If you are in need of financial assistance, call Dusty Roach at Lincoln Financial. He and his friendly staff have the expertise you'll need.
should
She
be
just
it.
bringing the one? The second?
Richie, when they announced the Grand and Reserve, I got like buckle sponsors, guys that want to come in here and hand them their buckle and their banner.
Let her announce that if it's okay,
Yeah.
so that they get it right and then they get some
We'll get it
representation.
See, this is the only problem about doing it. Because you gotta keep that cap before we...
It's fine. The kids want this race. This is their time to
Simmer down. You just simmer down. What I'm telling you. Will, no, I'll get this here. Let them get this thing here quick. We got to bring the second one in. I don't want them to leave. That's where we run into problems. That's what we had all the trouble with last year. They started pulling them out before we could give them. We didn't get any of them given out. And I want this to, those people that have got those problems.
Then all we ought to do is go down and tell them to pick to win.
So get that thing taken care of so that we make sure we stay in it. But we get them all in here and then bring them back. Yes.
So everybody's in order, class 1.
Good. And then they pull it on the thing. When they pick the champions, we got to hold the two of them because they're going to give them buckles and stuff like that here. So don't let them get out.
Okay.
Don't let the champion or the reserve one get out. Okay? Good. How are you doing? Good. Just hoping everything's here.
That's fine.
That'll give everybody a little break.
But we're going to fill. We're going to fill as
Yeah, that,
Is that, yeah. She wants to build.
that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
this can be done.
She's got to have more of the pick. Well, what I was going to say is, have a hook pick here, and I don't know how you're going to want to hold them there. So you can put them in order, and then you're going to do it. Well, I don't know what, like I said, if she picks one,
She'll work for it. She knew
Well, I tell you what, folks, really nice lineup of fat cattle out here for your lighter weight division of steers. Really enjoyed working with each of these exhibitors so far. Hopefully, if you guys are seeing along with me, audience rig side, you guys can see a kind of a type and kind of cattle. We like them to have the fundamentals of fat stock being good in terms of their product, combination of fat and muscle, and then beyond that, really good in terms of their balance. And for me, balance encompasses everything from their look ringside to their overall volume to their structural correctness. And then if we can get them just to have that it factor, kind of that ring presence on top of that, that's kind of the cherry on the cake for me. So really nice lineup of fat cattle. Audience, please give them a big hand. I'll show you which ones I like in the order I like them.
so we know this first division just is all in an
Like,
order.
yeah.
I'm gonna let her pick them. Go down through. We have all these in an order. Then they can do it.
How about this? That's good. He probably ought to say your hand. Oh yeah. He's excited no matter what. We could pretty well turn yours out.
No, the good thing about it is I'm trying to get. I just want to get them all right down.
All right,
This
but
has got 'em- Shawnee, come up here. We're gonna keep everything in here. No, that was the second place in the class. And you can say whatever you want with the rest of it.
She's been talking about the kids, the way they're dressed too.
These two right here on this end are your grand reserve.
Yeah. Congratulations, you guys. This is awesome. Hey, we want to thank our grand champion market division 1 sponsor, buckle sponsors, Mick and Lissy Newman.
Take them right out there.
Yeah, Mick and Lissy Newman. You guys can come out. And Dax Earl. It's our grand champion division 1. You can take him out, Matt. Our reserve champion, Division 1, is Landon Daniels. And our buckle sponsor and banner sponsor is Rose Landon Cattle. Oh, go ahead.
Miller Medical is ready to care for clients with full services for family medical. They also offer beauty and spa health treatments with hot stone and IV vitamin therapies, as well as Botox. Let Miller Medical take care of all your healthcare needs.
R&B Fencing Solutions has you covered for custom fencing, grazing, and livestock transportation. Give Rhett Munns a call today.
Rudd Funeral Home is a locally owned family-operated business. Joe Rudd and his family, as well as their devoted staff, are committed to providing you with the best service possible during a difficult time. Their beautiful facilities have all the necessary amenities. A large viewing room can also double as a smaller, more intimate funeral chapel. The chapel is even equipped with streaming capabilities to make sure family and friends are connected no matter how far they may be. Rudd Funeral Home is there to help you in your time of need.
Rigby Chiropractic, promoting health and wellness locally with a personal touch.
We haven't been too bad, really, except that first class. Been pretty lucky. All right, this is our class number 8.
All right, really good quality calf to go ahead and start off our class today. I like this guy's look from the side. He has a presence out here today, really extended ahead of his shoulder. He's level in his top line. He's comfortable enough off of his front end in motion. Like how set back in his knee is. He's got a lot of reach up there. I think he's big and bold in his rib shape. He's got a lot of shape up top. I like the gentleman's job at feeding this dude. He touches mellow when you get your hands on him. I would be the first to admit he's fairly straight off those rear two. I'd like to give him just a set more flex and comfortability, maybe make him a bit more correct off of that hip and hind leg posture, but I think really good quality calf that just has to start the class. The young lady's big old stouty coming in second place is definitely a powerful dude. I like his big bone. I like he's big in terms of his rib type. I like that he's big in terms of his back shape. Love all that about him. For me, he gets straight on both ends of his skeleton. I like to lay him back in his shoulder. I like to make him more appropriate in the angle from pin bone to stifle joint. That'll just relax his skeleton back and really give him a longer step off either end. Really nice quality calf to rock into second, however. Now the gentleman in third has done a splendid job at getting this guy fed. He touches super smooth, really mellow and fresh and youthful. Love that about him. Like that he's big ribbed. I like that he's soft enough in terms of his overall depth of body. For me, it's a skeletal issue. He's pretty hesitant off those rear two, as evidence of there's some pretty puffy hocks on that old boy. You'd like to really just make him quite a bit more comfortable in his skeletal design to swap some things around. Very nice calf, however. Our gentlemen, both in fourth and fifth, kind of have a similar kind of cattle in my mind. A little moderate, easy fleshing, big rib, practical made type of cattle that I think obviously gained really well for both the young gentlemen here today. Love that about them. I just wish both of them had a little bit more foot and bone under them. Both of them are a bit more correct off their feet and legs, and from behind had a shot more power. The one in four, just a tick more grow than the one in five. Really nice job to the three young people on the end over there. I think those are, again, our high grow, long-sided, big outline cattle. You love that about those three. Again, just what would like to see a shot more power from behind and a shot more finish at this stage of the game. Please give all those kids a good hand. They've done a very nice job.
All right, our first place in this class was Jackson Frankham, and our second place was Kensley Pugsley. That was a great thing. Now, just before we move...
Roach Ranches supports the people that support them and the fantastic youth of the Valley. Thank you for over 60 years in business, quality seed stocking, gravel, and hunting. Rock and Roll Construction Products, providing U-Cart concrete and landscaping products.
Rupp Trucking Excavating is a family-owned and operated construction business specializing in site prep and site utilities. Brothers Blaine and Brent Rupp have spent the last 45 years priding themselves on a project well done. What began small has turned into a company of over 70 employees and includes work such as demolition, sewer and water installation, earthwork, septic systems, and waste containers. Rupp's operates several gravel pits and offers both delivery and pickup. Contact Rupp's for your construction needs.
Schaefer Farms. We grow family, friends, and high-quality crops. Swing by the fielding location and pick up some delicious homegrown food today.
State Line Electric serving Utah and Idaho. Give them a call today.
We good? Howdy. All of us here at Stokes Trucking want to wish good luck to all the youth at the Box Elder County Fair Junior Livestock Show and Sale. Remember to thank your mom and dad when it's all over, and remember to thank your 4-H leaders and your FFA leaders as well. Speaking of thanks, Let's all take just a second here and thank a truck driver, or be thankful for them. These good, honest, hard-working people literally bring us everything. Think about that. Thank you and enjoy the fair.
These steers are going to go from 1384 to 1412. 1384 to 1412. This is class number 8, or 9 with 8 steers in it. We need a few more for this class number 10. We need to get Avery Jones and Waitland Firth. You bet. Get up here, get ready. We'll be ready for you here in just a few minutes.
Rock on. I think a really, really nice trio of cattle up top here. I think all three of them represent just good quality fed cattle in general, and then beyond that, just good quality show steers. I think when it comes down to it, though, there's one that just immediately catches your eye the second that he steps into the ring. He continues to impress you as he moves around. When you stop in and get behind him, he's massive in his hip. He's big and bold in his rib type. I like a lot of things about this young lady's calf up front here. Really just high quality show cattle. Now, miss, bit of an advice when you come back. He's kind of got one of those old school club calf heads and necks on him, meaning he leans a little more forward than he does up and out. If there's any way you can get him to kind of maintain his head a little bit further up in his skeleton when you're pulling him around, that just kind of keeps his top line together a little bit better and makes him a tick more impressive. Really, really nice calf. He's not maybe the most explosive in terms of his foot and bone size out of anything we've seen today, but he's incredibly proportional, incredibly high quality. That's a pretty fault-free kind of cattle. Very nice way to start a class. Now, I think you go back and forth a little bit between the calves in 2 and 3 because I think they're very, very different in their kind. Both of them have the same basic fundamentals you like in cattle, but I think that the one that just suits me a nickel better is the young gentleman's big, powerful calf to rock into second. That dude is extremely cracked open on both ends of his skeleton. You get him behind the cattle, he's the one that overwhelms you in terms of pin set and power up high. Big old square, huge hip into him. He is a lot bigger boned and probably bigger footed than the calf that beats him out here today. He's just not constructed as well. He's fairly straight in his shoulder. He's a little out in his elbow, turns out his toes up front consequently. I'd love to see him just hook in a tick neater up front because I think that guy's pretty awful good as well. Now, I like the calf in third. This young gentleman's done a very nice job at bringing us just really deep-sided, soft-made, easy feeding, really soft-touching, mellow kind of cattle. I love the quality of this guy from the side, and he's equally probably as good looking as the two ahead of him today. When you get him behind the cattle, there's just not as much of him. He's a little narrower pinned, a little lighter down to his stifle. He funnels down to the surface. I wish he was as impactful from behind as the two cattle ahead of him today, but those 3 kids are going to come back in your division drive. Very good quality cattle. Now, the young gentleman, shorthorn appearing calf at next is really, really just an interesting calf from a fed cattle perspective. He's sound enough, he's big enough ribbed, he's big enough muscled, he touches extremely good. Young gentleman's done a very, very nice job at getting him to a very good endpoint. Very, very fresh kind of cattle. I just wish he'd read as high quality from the side as the other 3 out here do today. Very competitive 4th place. Our young lady in 5 has got one that is definitely on the moderate side compared to some of the other cattle we've got. Little smaller outline, little shorter cannon kind of dude that I think packs a really powerful punch. I like that about him. I like that he's kind of, your meat and potatoes kind of big muscle, big rib kind of dude. Unfortunately, sometimes when we get him as powerful as this guy is, they get a little coarse in their makeup, and he kind of does do that. A little more set to his hock, a little coarser about his joints. I like to just give him a bit more comfort whenever he's pulled to lead. Young lady with the bald-faced calf brings us one that is really deep and practical in his rib. I like how soft-made this guy is. I like how he looks like he is really easy feeding. He'll certainly be able to grade when the young lady gets him hung up on the rail. I like his length of side as well. I just need to, when you get him behind the cattle, have a shot more power everywhere. He's a little flat in his muscle shape, a little flat in his rib shape. You like to just open him up and make him a bit more burly and dense in his design. The 2 young people that we've got rounding out our class have kind of the long-sided again, big outline, big grow. You like the extra frame, you like the extra upward growth on both those cattle. Again, couple cattle that I think just need a shot more muscle and a shot more time to be able to represent better feeding type of cattle. Give all those kids a really nice round of applause. They're doing very well.
And number 3 went to Quentin Frankham. Boy, I tell you what, that was a nice class. We're going here into class number 10. And they have 7. There's going to be just 7 animals in this and here. And they're going to range from 1414 to 1431. 1414 to 1431. There'll be just 7 animals in class number 10. Quit complaining. We got 20 in the last class.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but we got 20 in the class. It's a dog. I love it.
We're used to rodeoing.
Not 20 yet. It's still only 15.
Yeah.
Okay.
My guess is a smaller class. Unlike my guess.
They just do.
Just 2.
That's my guess.
I'll go with that guess. I sure hope you're right.
Ideal weight. Sometimes they want to bring extras. Every judge has their ideal weight.
They do. You're exactly right. There's only one time I remember I've been involved with this. There was a judge, not the dumbest judge we ever had.
Wasn't
From
consistent.
Wyoming. He had a 1,490-pound steer as the champion,
And
the
the lightest
the
weight
reserve
one.
champion was 12 something.
Yeah. I'll never forget that year, too.
I know, I
was talking
remember.
about that last year.
I remember we came over to Lyle after it was over, and people were talking there, and he said to Lyle, he said, if you guys want me to come back next year again, you better get with it real quick, because I get hooked up real fast. And I grabbed Lyle's arm, and I turned him around, and I said, well, don't invite him.
Did you say what?
I just grabbed Lyle's arm, and he turned and looked at me, and said, I just heard what was said there, don't invite him. He was only a one-year man. I thought,
I did like the guy we had last year.
yeah, I
like him.
well, I don't really have a complaint about a lot of them.
He was like
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
With the kids, the way she acted.
Yeah, boy, she can give you reasons, and and you can really look at what she's talking to once.
Okay.
You're echoing.
What was it I did last year? I was standing over there, and that's when everything was screwed up. And I said, oh, you're kidding me? And I was like this here. And then somebody come over to me and he says, you're on TV. And it was funny, I got home that time. That was when my mother was there before she passed away. And she told me, she says, I heard you talking. Who was getting cussed? She said it come over loud and clear. My wheels are falling off. I know. That was funny. When I got home, somebody was getting cussed. You came through loud and clear. But it was funny they come over.
All right, so I think maybe a bit more challenging class in my mind because I think as a whole everybody's a really kind of a nice even set of fat cattle out here today. All of them are pretty good in terms of the fundamentals of just being practical in the rib, finished, and having enough muscle. So you kind of got to just kind of sort down on the little things that separate them. And in my mind, the one that I think that represents the most problem-free kind of cattle that is just the best balance from the side is the young ladies out in front here today. That one just makes the most sense to me as your class winner. Is he the best looking one we've seen all day? Probably not. He's probably also maybe not the stoutest one we've seen all day, but I think in this class he just kind of rises to the top. Really nice job to the young lady. Now, I think your kind of more routine type of fat cattle is in the one in second. That is a big, deep rib dude, really kind of long-sided. He's practical. He looks like he gained weight real easy for you. Looks like he was really efficient at the feed bunk. I think we'd like to clean him up and just give him a tick more of a show steer look from behind. I'd like to see more turn to his stifle, like to square up his foot shape, give him a shot more bone to proportion with the mass that he has up high. Nice calf to go into second. Now our young friend with the gray calf coming next has definitely got one that has one of the biggest back shapes in class. I like how big and square he is in his loin. I like that he's long-sided and he's smooth in terms of his makeup. You done a nice job getting him fed, young lady. For me, he's just a little bit straight-shouldered. He's got a little more set to his hock and is a little bit crooked on his toes when he looks out there. You like to just clean him up a little bit in his structure, but a nice calf to go into third. Pretty similar style of calf, I think, in the red one. In fourth there, I think another big outline, big muscle, big hip kind of dude that I think has got enough rib shape. One I think I'd also like to clean up a bit in terms of structure is he also gets a tick straight-shouldered, toes out up front and hocks in from behind. A really nice, practical, fed cattle type of deal, though. Young lady coming next has one that I think represents just good fed cattle, industry cattle. Really smooth, blending, balanced calf from the side, deep-sided, soft-made kind of dude that's really, really fleshy. I just wish there was more of him. He's one of the flatter ribbed, flatter, stifled steers that just doesn't have quite as much power behind him. Young lady coming next has one that I think corrects the one in front of him in terms of muscle shape. I like the big hip in that dude. I like that he's square out of his loin. I just wish he maybe had a little bit more time. He's one that I think gets a little raw in his forerib, a little cut back up to his flank, and a little bit bare in his visual indicators in terms of fat cover today for me to make him a little bit safer at the top of the class. Young gentleman rounding out has a really large outline, smooth-sided calf that I think is still really good and practical in his rib design. Another one that I think has plenty of muscle. Another one that I think just needs a tick more time because he is pretty bare in his indicators. Again, another one that I think needs to be corrected in his skeleton. Please give all of those young people a nice hand. They're doing a very nice job.
All right, that was our class number 10, and our first place in that class is Allison Daniels, and the second place goes to Patty Rose.
Schooler, let's get growing. Your partner for grain and feed, merchandising, marketing, storage, and logistics.
Tanglewood Studios has something for everyone, whether it's dance, cheer, color guard, or gymnastics. There's even recreational all-boys gymnastics along with Mamma Me classes. Family rates are available, so come join the fun.
Calves in this class, class number 11. 1437 to 1453, and tomorrow we'll be having our showmanship. We'll have our showmanship tomorrow, and anybody that is not signed up, we can still get that taken care of today. We want to get everybody a chance to be in the showmanship. It's a great thing, a lot of learning for a lot of kids. So just take the time and get signed up and be part of the showmanship. A lot of nice prizes and everything else for what they do. Appreciate it. Thank you. We need everybody to get ready for class number 12. We've only got a few down here. We won't be very long, and we'll need class number 12 to be ready. So if you are in class number 12, get down here and get ready to go. It's not going to be long. Class number 12.
All right, as we move on down into your classes, really stout-made, big-backed, big-ribbed couple of pair of steers up top here. I think both of them are good enough quality to move their way towards the front of the class. I'll be honest, I'll be the first to tell you, neither of them are good enough in their skeleton. Both of them need to be altered in how their shoulder and their knee lays into them. Both of them need to be better in terms of their hock joint whenever they actually are pulled to lead. And I think that's something today, though, given where we're at in the rest of the class, they still rise up to the top as being the most product-oriented, stoutest made, highest quality cattle, regardless of their skeletal issues. I think when it comes down to selecting between the pair of them, however, there's just more calf in the gray calf to work his way up. He's deeper and bolder in his rib. He's bolder to the outer portion of his hip. He's bigger and bolder in his upper rib cage shape, which allows him to have more spread up high. I like the market animal shape that this guy has. I love his utility when he eventually gets hung up on the rail. The young lady at the black and white calf that's going to come into second, definitely one that's flashy from the side. I think she's done a really nice job feeding that dude. He's fresh to the touch, real mellow, real youthful in terms of his overall handle quality. Another one, again, needs corrected in his skeleton. Between the pair of them, not as much of him. He's a little flatter in his forerib, he's a little narrower in his pin set. Consequently, not as much room to lay down as much muscle as the calf that beats him out here today. Nice pair of cattle for both the young women. We'll see them back here in just a moment. Now, if we're going to talk about big rib, soft made, big centered, easy feeding kind of cattle, this young lady's Hereford calf sure is that. I do think that she's done a really nice job at pulling together one that is just as product oriented as the cattle ahead of him. I do also think he needs to be altered in his structure too. He's pretty straight shouldered and forward in his knee. I'd like to change that about him. When you get him behind the cattle, there's just not as much explosive muscle shape as the two that are ahead of him today. So we'll leave him in third place. But great job, kiddo. Go ahead and spin him around. Young lady with the kind of black and white face calf down there coming in four has done a nice job at picking one that I think is shapely. He's big backed. He's big enough in his rib. I'd like to alter his structure. His hip and hind leg posture needs fixed. He's a little bit straight there, okay? Nice job, kiddo. The gentleman coming next with the big smile on his face is doing a nice job. He's losing his ribbon, but he's doing a nice job there. All right, it's going to become a snack again if you don't pay attention. Really big soft rib calf. I like the practicality of him. I like that he's got enough muscle shape. When we get comparative to the other cattle ahead of him today, he's a little lighter and a little smaller outline, a little narrower from behind. We like to just make it a little more explosive and pack a little bigger punch out here today. The gentleman with the bald-faced calf coming next, as well as the young gentleman rounding out the class today. Two of the taller, longer outline cattle that I think are bigger in their frame, of course. A little stretchier sided cattle that I think just need a shot more width and power from behind and a bit more shape up over their top. Please give all those young people a nice hand. They're doing a great job.
All right, that was our class number 11, and the number one was Annie Walker. She was number one, and number two was Ellie Mae Sorensen. You betcha. Boy, that was a nice class.
We deeply appreciate your participation in this week's county fair and rodeo. Your presence adds to the vibrancy of our community. Thank you for visiting Tree Mountain and being a part of our journey.
On behalf of Utah Seed, congratulations to all who participated in the Box Elder County Fair Junior Livestock Auction. Well done! We also want to thank the families, 4-H clubs, farmers, and ranchers who supported these participants in preparing this year's entries. All of us, farmers, ranchers, and Utah Seed are involved in feeding America. Whether you need alfalfa, seed, dryland pasture, cover crops, or three-way grain mixes, we are here to help with the right products and right information for your needs.
I'm not proud. I'll sit.
Good.
Yes. Oh my heck, how are you doing? I'm glad to see you.
Richie, this is my son Miles.
Ooh, there you go. Good buddy. Hey, I like your drink.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Richie and his son Riggins, they grow onions up here.
Oh,
What do you think about that?
The best.
Well,
okay.
now let's not stretch it too far. We've gone quite a ways here, you know.
Miles is interesting.
All right, another nice class of cattle to work through. I think that when it comes down to it, there's maybe not one that quite hit every note for me, maybe not one that quite fits my type of cattle as best as I like them to, but I really think the best combination of structural correctness while still having enough good balance from the side is the young gentleman's black calf out here to start. There's enough red meat on that guy. He's big enough in his rib. He's long enough in his side, good looking enough to be at the top of the class, in my opinion. I do think that he needs to have probably a bit more dimension when you study him at the surface. He does close up to the surface, particularly in those back two. You'd like to give him just a shot more genuine base width, and I'd probably like to make him just a tick more shapely down into his lower quarter and a little bit fuller back into his rear flank, but that's just the best built one that still has enough presence out here today. Nice job to that young man. Now, I think, honestly, in 2 and 3, we can do a pair of cattle that appear to be higher quality from the side. They kind of have that show ring presence as opposed to our class winner out here today. They are more base-wide type of cattle, the pair of them out here. But beyond that, I think there's just some skeletal things I'm having a hard time overlooking. The black and white calf is fairly straight-fronted. That and his elbow comes out the more he relaxes, and he's pretty forward in his knee. Really need to alter his skeleton to make him a more practical in terms of his overall kind, and consequently actually higher quality. Beyond that, when we get that out of the way and discuss it, that's a smooth made one, really good balance from the side in terms of his top line, nice hip and hind leg in that dude. He's pretty round and bold in his rib type and pretty explosive in his muscle shape, which is why he still worked his way into second for me today. Young gentleman's big powerful black calf coming next is big stout dude. He's kind of your meat and potatoes, big muscle, big rib, wide constructed dude, pretty harsh and extreme in his skeleton. I need him to be more correct in his shoulder, more correct in his hip and hind leg. Young gentleman's red calf, on initial impression, you like the big rib shape of that dude. I like his muscle. I like his length of side. I like the presence that he's got out here today. Unfortunately, the longer I study that dude, the more I realize he's pretty raw and bare about his cover out here. He's flat in his forerib and tucked back up to his flank. I love to see him just come more explosive and probably be a little heavier for his ideal endpoint. Young gentleman with the star face calf coming next has got one that I think is good enough in his rib type. I think that he's round enough in terms of his muscle shape out here today. He definitely sets wider on all four corners than a couple of the cattle at the top of the class. For me, that guy is pretty extreme in his skeleton. Needs to be made more comfortable in his shoulder, more comfortable in his hip and hind leg as he gets upright off both ends. Young lady's bald-faced calf coming out next is one that is certainly better in terms of his skeletal design than a handful of the cattle in front of him. He probably stays a bit more comfortable in terms of his hip and hind leg. Further forward in his skeleton, his shoulder's still not good enough for me, and he gets flatter and plainer in his forerib. Young gentleman, actually the two young people rounding out the class probably have two of the sounder cattle in class in terms of skeletal design as a whole. However, I just wish that there was more muscle on these cattle. You get them behind them, I just need them to be wider constructed and bigger and bolder and shapelier over their top. Nice set of cattle for the kids. Please give them all a really good hand.
Boy, I tell you what, there's a nice class number 12. On our number 1 is Bay Coombs, and number 2 was Chet Kunzler. That was class number 12. We are going.
For 20 years, Valley View Granite has offered our local community the best quality and service for their home countertops. With the addition of Marble Ventures in Ogden, Utah, our team is now able to offer the same reliable and dependable service for their showers, tub surrounds, and more. With locations from Sandy to Idaho Falls, we offer the best value without sacrificing quality for your build or remodel. Come in and see us today. Valley View Granite, enhancing places people gather.
Today we come together to honor a pillar of our community, Jan Rhodes. For many years, Jan has been the heart and soul of our fairgrounds, managing them with a commitment that has made them a central gathering place for all of us. This week, as our fair was in full swing, tragedy struck. Jan lost her home in a devastating fire. In a time of celebration, she faced a profound and personal loss, and now we have the chance to come together and support her as she has supported us for so long.
Jan's contributions to our community are immeasurable, and it is now our turn to show her the same loyalty and care she has always shown to us. Let us rally together to provide the support and comfort she needs during this difficult time. Your help can make a significant difference in her life, just as she has made in ours. Visit www.bejlauction.com to donate. 100% of these proceeds will benefit her directly.
Is that a pretty good little deal? Is that a pretty good thing they got rolled up?
Yeah.
Daisy? Are you sure?
That's what Dave said.
Oh, well, let David know.
Yeah.
I blame it on Dave if we get it right.
I might ask her. I said her last one. She comes over close enough.
She's going to be watching them series on last week. Yeah. We're going to be.
They must signed up for a 2-hour Zoom. They come.
I never even told her that.
Well, they should have signed up for 2 hours. Because they started at 3 to handle it. They had a barbecue.
For 14.
Oakley Hoffman. We need to have you here. Class number 14 is ready to go. Oakley Hoffman.
All right, I think, maybe a more challenging class in my mind because I think the 10 of them as a whole are just really, really even and good in terms of what the spread between them isn't great, in my opinion. I think, honestly, if you had the group of these as a whole, considered them a load, I think a guy'd be pretty happy with shipping the kinds of cattle that each one of these young people brought out here with us today. When it comes down to it, we're picking in the nitty-gritty of the show steer side of things. I think just soundness really continues to come to my mind, and that'd be the young gentleman's calf to lead the class out here today. That guy's the best in his angles. He's the best in terms of his joint work out here today, and he's comfortable and level in terms of his lines. He does get a little bit coarse about his tail head. He probably needs to be squared up and biggened up in terms of his foot shape up underneath him. I'd love to give him a shot more bone to just go with the mass that he has up high, but that's the soundest fat calf in here that just needs to win. Now, between 2 and 3, I think that there's definitely some give and take, and you might have switched the pair depending on your own personal preference out here today. I probably still see a tick more balance and a tick more skeletal security in the young ladies. A calf out front here with a ribbon in her mouth to go ahead and rock into second. There's probably just a bit more extension, shoulder blade forward in that guy, probably just a bit more genuine red meat shape up top, and I think that guy to the surface stays a little bit more comfortable when he's pulled to lead. Nothing to take away from the big old stouty dude here in third. I think that guy has a lot of red meat, big old huge hip there, big old rib shape, big soft belly that I think he looks like he represents an easy feeding kind of cattle. My issue with him starts at the surface. That's a really small foot, really shallow heel. That in combination with being a little coarser in his joint work and straight in his shoulder is just giving me more question marks as he pulls around the ring. So we'll leave him in third. Our friend over there in fourth is doing a spectacular job getting that dude presented. I like his softness of rib. I like that he's soft when you go in to touch him. He handles really mellow. You've done a nice job getting him fed. For me, another one that gets a little straight-shouldered. And when you get into the profile of that guy, he's shorter hipped than he is in extension up front. His balance is off, consequently, for me, and you like to square him up in terms of his hip and hind leg structure. The gentleman coming next brings us another big rib, practical feeding kind of cattle that just represents good cattle that continue to make the grade every day. I think this guy's structure again needs to be put together better. He's straight-shouldered as well, a little round out of his hip and tucked back up to his flank. Gentleman coming next does a nice job. Told me this is his first year doing steers, and he's doing fabulous at it. Really nice job getting that dude fed. I think his handle quality is good. He'll represent a really good part of the cattle market. I like his deep, soft rib. I like that he's practical in terms of his overall body type. I just wish he was as explosive as some of the other ones in terms of muscle shape, but a very, very good job. Our young friend rounding out the class has done a good job with old Mr. Personality there today. That is a meat and potatoes kind of calf. He is big ribbed. He is big muscled. He is kind of low to the ground. Unfortunately, that just means he's not as cute as some of the other ones out here today, and certainly he could probably be laid back in his skeleton on either end. Really nice set of black fat cattle. Please give all those young people a nice hand.
Oh boy, that was our class number 13. We're down. We've only got one class left, but the winner of that class was Deegan Rigby. You betcha, there's a real nice steer. And Blakely Pugsley to number 2. We'll bring in our
Whether you are purchasing a car, buying a home, managing an investment property, starting a small business, or leaving behind a legacy, American Family Insurance will help you protect your dream.
kid hung on.
I bet his dad told him to get up.
Probably. Is that his son?
right, as we get to your heavyweight cattle, clearly we've got some big outline calves to sort through today. Big old heavyweight cattle that I think still have their place in the industry today. Honestly, the Packers think you can't get them big enough at this point, so honestly, I think we're totally fine in terms of genuine frame size up here today. What it comes down to for me is just having ones that have enough rib and have enough muscle for that big old frame they've got, and I think that the one that does that while still remaining sound enough is the young gentleman over here today. He's going to go ahead and win your class for me today. I think that's a big rib, soft-made one that I think is huge in terms of his top shape. There is a massive, massive top in that dude. He will certainly split the largest eye on any of the cattle in here today. I think he still remains sound enough in terms of his overall skeletal design. He's particularly in that hip and hind leg. He's the most comfortable of our trio up front. He is a little bit straight in terms of his shoulder, a little coarse about the point of his shoulder. He still has by far more reach than either cattle that are going to come behind him, so we're going to leave him up top. Nice job to that young man. Young lady's calf that comes in second. I like just the look of this guy from the side. I think he's long and stretchy. He's really extended ahead of his shoulder. Big old long-sided dude that still has plenty of top and rib into him as well. That guy gets a little bit more moderate in his overall frame, which is interesting because he's very long-sided. So for me, proportions are a little bit off on that guy. And then when you get in and actually study his joint work, he's incredibly swollen in all those joints in terms of his feet and legs. Really love to see him more comfortable there to consider swapping some things around. Our gentleman with the big old black and white calf, when we just study the meat animal shape on that dude, I think he's very good. He's big ribbed, he's big topped, he's got all those things. This guy too needs to be altered in his feet and legs because he's pretty imperfect on those front legs and then gets a little wonky in those back too as well. The next young ladies that come next bring a smooth made, probably better built cattle that I think are just as practical in their rib design. I wish there was more of them in comparison to the 3 cattle ahead of them, so the ladies in 4 and 5 continue to do a great job. Our gentleman and the tall gentleman here in the middle there is doing a nice job with the big rib dude. That guy is super, super soggy and soft to the ground, big old wide kind of truck-like dude. This guy for me just needs to be better skeleton. He's got a lot of extra set to that hawk, consequently really comes up under himself whenever he's pulled into motion. Love to see him just a bit more skeletally secure. Our friend here coming next has one that I think is really interesting in terms of his look. He's really flashy from the side. I like his raw muscle shape up top. He's big in his hip shape as well. This guy for me gets a little bit extreme in terms of his skeletal design for me, pretty upright on both ends of his skeleton. And sometimes when you get this kind of cattle that are this extreme in their skeleton, they can tend to be a little harder doing. He is a little bit tighter ribbed. I'd love to see him represent a little easier feeding kind of cattle. The gentleman with the Charolais calf coming next has got us one big outline dude. There's a lot of upward grow in that fella, a lot of genuine pounds on that fella. I like how long-sided he is. I just wish he had more time. As big as he is, I still think he could get fatter. Definitely kind of represents that kind of Charolais cattle. I'd wish he was just a little bit more covered to just make me feel a little safer about his chances of grading on the rail. Young gentleman rounding out the class today does so with the biggest outline, heaviest class of the heaviest calf of the entire show. Really, really deep-sided, soft-made kind of dude. I like that he's fleshy. He too, just like the Char, probably could use a few more because I don't know if he's quite fat enough. He's pretty bare in his visual indicators for me out here today. Really nice set of fats to round out your last class. Please give all those young people a nice hand.
All right, that was our class number 14, and our first place goes to Colton Mickelson. Boy, and I'll tell you, what a showman. I'll tell you, he knows how to handle it. And number 2, Oakley Hoffman. All right,
Bear River Animal Hospital takes care of small and large animals, providing pediatric care all the way up to senior pets. They deliver high-quality, customized vet services with their dedicated team. Services include exams, vaccinations, surgeries, dentistry, fully equipped laboratory and pharmacy, along with x-ray and ultrasound. Many of these same services can be conveniently provided on the farm. Bear River Animal Hospital is filled with highly trained animal lovers who will provide the best care for the animals in your life. Meet the dedicated veterinarians at Bear River Animal Hospital. Whether you have small or large animals, they can provide high-quality, customized vet services, including exams, vaccinations, surgery, dentistry, x-rays, and ultrasound. Make an appointment at 435-257-7455.
We want to thank Ashley Wright Photography for taking our champion pictures. Also, Max and Sheena Hansen for our market banners, Shaylee Anderson for the design, and Mountain Valley Printing for doing those for us. Let's give a round of applause for our sponsors. And one other thing, just please keep in mind, pick up your garbage, take care of yourself, and tidy up. Thank you.
All right, as we get your heavyweight division market steers lined up out here today, I think the young people have done and brought us good quality cattle again in this set of heavier weight cattle from our Division 1. Nice cattle to sort through. I won't talk so much. It's getting hot, then it's getting about dinner time for these steers here soon, I'm sure. We got one more champion drive to rock through. I'll just show you the ones that I like. Hopefully you remember from class how I talked to them. I won't spend some time talking more of them here in a sec. Really nice job to the kids. Audience, please give these Division 2 kids a nice hand, and I'll pull them down in the order I like them.
Our Grand Champion Division II sponsor is Ridge Rinderknecht. And our reserve champion sponsor for Division II market is TNT Performance, Travis and Sonny Spencer.
All right. Grand champion of that division was Gracie Earl. Reserve was Stetson Morris. Then we had Jackson Frankum, Quinton Frankum, Allison Daniels, Deegan Rigby, Blakely Pugsley, Annie Walker, Colton Mickelson, Kensley Pugsley, Ellie Mae Sorensen, Patty Rose, Bay Coombs, Chet Kunzler, and Oakley Hoffman.
Good. Let's give all these a real good hand. You better believe it. All right. Let's bring you two right here. We're going to get a picture. Give us just 1 second here. We're going to get a picture, and we got a couple of things to do. We got a couple of things to tell you about right now. I'm going to bring Western Ag Credit has got a new little program they're going to help us with here in Box Elder County, and I'm real excited about it, and I think everybody here.
Big J Milling has high-quality wheat flours for the baking industry. They specialize in providing top-grade flour for commercial bakeries, bakery and restaurant distributors, as well as home bakers.
Boz Towing and Diesel Roadside. From our full-service shop, fast ETA road service, fleet service, or heavy-duty towing, we have you covered. Located in Corinne and Evanston.
Central Milling is personally invested in the quality of their products and their relationships with customers and suppliers. They are also a proud supporter of high school sports. Central Milling is the farmer, the miller, and the baker working to preserve American farmland for tomorrow while preserving the highest quality of flour and grains to the bakers of today. Select the best products for your family by using Central Milling Company.
Use Elison Trucking for all your trucking needs. They are big enough to serve, small enough to care. Elison Trucking in Tremonton is a proud supporter of the Box Elder County Fair.
There's a lot to know when it comes to buying insurance. That's why it's important to have an independent agent looking out for you and your family. Whatever you're looking to protect, Advanced Insurance Services can help. Let Sherry Pally help make sure you have the right coverage and are getting all the discounts you deserve. She can shop several carriers to find the company that is right for you. Call for a free insurance review today.
With over 60 years of experience and personalized service, Guild Mortgage is your key to home ownership in Box Elder County and beyond. Friends and neighbors you know and trust. Trudy, Chris, Julie, Shannon, Rollin, Tara, Brittany, Andy, Chelsea. Stop by or give us a call today. Guild Mortgage, own what matters.
The Grill has a wide variety of homemade appetizers. Can't decide what to get? Then build an appetizer combo. No matter what you're craving, the Grill has something for everyone.
King Farms Trucking provides excellent service to their customers as well as their drivers with maximum pay. With home time and year-round consistency, join their team today.
Did you know Kent's Market has an app? And it's free. Just go to your app store and type in Kent's Market and it'll come right up. Downloading the Kent's Market app gives you access to digital coupons, weekly deals, and access to your Kent's Kickback account. As you can see, the app is easy to use and can help you save. Download it now and get exploring. We'll see you soon at Kent's.
If you are in need of financial assistance, call Dusty Roach at Lincoln Financial. He and his friendly staff have the expertise you'll need.
Miller Medical is ready to care for clients with full services for family medical. They also offer beauty and spa health treatments with hot stone and IV vitamin therapies, as well as Botox. Let Miller Medical take care of all your healthcare needs.
R&B Fencing Solutions has you covered for custom fencing, grazing, and livestock transportation. Give Rhett Munns a call today.
Again, we want to thank Ashley Wright Photography for taking our champion drive photos. And our overall grand champion sponsor buckle is Drew and Nicole Sorensen, and reserve grand champion is Cody Kunzler and Kenzie Sorensen.
Awesome. Well, really nice set of 4 fat cattle out here to sort through today. And I know I've got a couple more shows tomorrow, a couple showmanships tomorrow, but this is my last set of market animals that I'm going to evaluate for you guys this week. So I just wanted to take a second to make a couple of comments. It has been very much a pleasure to work with your kids. I am humbled and honored by every opportunity that I get asked to work with youth in this industry. It's a privilege to get to work with your kids, and I just hope that they feel like they were important to and that they were respected by me all week because every single one of these kids, not only here in the cattle show, but in the other species, they matter. And it's really, really important to continue to support them and have them be involved in this industry. I tell you what, this has been a very large show this week. I can tell you guys it's not this way everywhere. Numbers are continuing to dwindle across the country in this sport and in this profession, and I think that it's really, really cool that you guys continue to have the numbers that you guys have, even past all the shutdowns we had 4 years ago. So really, really just a testament to you guys and your community. I just pray that you guys continue to support all those kids, not only the ones that made it to the top of their individual species, but the kids at the bottom of every single class. They continue to feel like they're important, that they're respected, and that they matter in this industry. So thank you guys for doing that. Audience, give these steer exhibitors a big hand. I'll show you the one I like.
All right, looks like we have Gracie Earl will be our grand champion. And I'm telling you what, let's give her a good hand, because guess what? Western Ag Credit gets to come and present the award to a homegrown box elder calf. Let's give him a good hand. Boy, I tell you what, we can do anything here in the county, and we just showed it right here. We just showed it right here. We can compete with anybody, you betcha. And Stetson Morris will be our reserve champion. Boy, they're an eyelash away. Give that young man a real good hand. And I'll tell you what, we've got 2 more steers right behind it. What a day. I tell you what, this is just fantastic. I think we've had a great time. Sure thankful for the judge that came and did it. I talked to some people today that even knew her grandfather when they were showing steers. And they said what a wonderful family it is. So let's give them all a real good hand as we're done here today. Our grand champion homegrown steer. We got a great reserve champion, and everything's good. We appreciate it, and thank you very much for coming.
We want to thank again Drew and Nicole Sorensen for our overall buckle sponsorship, and Kinsey and Cody Kunzler for our reserve champion. Same thing. You're getting married in a couple weeks.
We just wanted to announce our best display in the barn, and that's the Christiansons, Hadley, Kaysen, Rhett, and Kentley. Way to go. Molly McMurdy, I've got your ribbon up here.
Bucket Calf exhibitors, we are going to start our show at 5:10, and that is the 4-H class. Thank you.
Today we come together to honor a pillar of our community, Jan Rhodes. For many years, Jan has been the heart and soul of our fairgrounds, managing them with a commitment that has made them a central gathering place for all of us. This week, as our fair was in full swing, tragedy struck. Jan lost her home in a devastating fire. In a time of celebration, she faced a profound and personal loss, and now we have the chance to come together and support her as she has supported us for so long. Jan's contributions to our community are immeasurable, and it is now our turn to show her the same loyalty and care she has always shown to us. Let us rally together to provide the support and comfort she needs during this difficult time. Your help can make a significant difference in her life, just as she has made in ours. Visit www.bejlauction.com to donate. 100% of these proceeds will benefit her directly.